Um, so I am Tara Dixon. I am the owner of Research and Evaluation Group. We do a lot of, as I said, public health type work. So we do evaluations and some basic research, not as you would think as an institution, like a university type institution research base, but more so researching on a on more of a public health evaluation, strategic planning type research work that we do. Not only do we do public health, but we've also ventured out into other type of agencies such as workforce development and education.
Yes.
And as well as doing a lot of health IT. We have a health informatics specialist on my team that is kind of starting up that division, and we're seeing a lot of healthcare going in that direction. So we're kind of taking that focus as well. But we are headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. I did host, I think that was in October or November. I can't even remember. I did host one of these events back in October, which was really good to meet most of, I guess not Lydia and Courtney. I don't think I met Courtney, but it was really good to meet people and network. And it was just a really good opportunity to kind of share what we're doing and hopefully potential meet some other people that we can partner with in the future. So we're an 8A, women owned. So we're just not HUBZone. That's the only.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Courtney.
I've been in business since 2009, and we're 3 years into 8A. So.
Okay.
Excellent. So you waited a few years. Good for you. Very smart.
Yes.
So Courtney, tell us a little bit about you. I remember you from months ago.
Yeah. It's been a while. I appreciate you guys inviting me back out. I am Courtney Ware. I'm owner of Ware Hauling LLC, trucking transportation company. I want to say the COVID-19, this whole little epidemic thing has I'm not going to say it really shut us down. It slowed us up because being in transportation, we're kind of recession proof. It's a lot of things that are, needing to be delivered. But our main thing is, basically, finding capital and stuff like that in these times. So, but for the most part, I am a service disabled veteran-owned small business. So I got that certification. I also, as far as DBE, MBE was just been applying for just so much stuff just to help out. Just to help out the business. It's a family-owned business. Me and my brother partnered in together to get everything together. And like I said, we just taking it one day at a time and staying plugged in.
Fantastic.
So while we're waiting, are there any specific challenges that you all are facing or any questions that you come with tonight for any of us? I know, Courtney, you...
All right, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, I know you talked about, some of the challenges with capital. So what are your challenges? What are you looking for? What are you looking to receive from the group tonight?
So basically, I had a few questions as far as with the SBA. I have filled out the application for the economic disaster relief fund or whatever loan. I mean. And I've done that. I've also done, they just sent out something else as far as that they're doing a grant or something, $10,000 to expedite some of the businesses or whatever like that you don't have to pay back. So I just was trying to figure out like the time frame on that, because with all of this stuff happening and everything like that, what's the time frame on that? Are they, But I know it's an influx of everybody going through and or whatever like that, but
Yeah. I have similar questions, but I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but I've been trying to do some research on it too. So what I've tried to figure out is like how many different things directly sent from the SBA. So what I've seen is there's the disaster relief loan, right? And that's kind of like based on your taxes and how, so it's up to what, 2 million, I think it was, or something like that.
So they got one for 2 million, and I think somebody else has one for 10 million or whatever.
Okay, I think that's the 10 million one. And then there's like an expedited one that they just sent out under the CARES Act that was $10,000.
Yeah.
And that still, I believe, has to be paid back. But it's a little bit more expedited. The one that I did see, there are 2 additional ones that may not have to be paid back. The one that I did see today was the payday or paycheck relief fund, and that's based on the last 8 weeks of your payroll. And if you keep your employees or hire them back quickly, then you will not be required to pay back those 8 weeks that they give you, whatever funding that is.
That's right.
And that one, actually, I called my bank today, TD Bank, so it may be different for other banks, but because it just came out, they don't have like the criteria of how to implement it just yet. And so they put me on a list to contact me once they figure out how to implement this SBA paycheck relief fund that was just approved. So, so she's saying, my banker told me 2 to 3 weeks for that one. And then I did see, because my business was technically in South Carolina last year, I still get contact from South Carolina. The city of Columbia, so basically whatever city you have a business license in, is providing a relief fund up to $10,000 as well for businesses that are in the city of Columbia, South Carolina, and that does not have to be paid back either. So you may want to look if the city of Atlanta or DeKalb County or Fulton County, whatever county that you're in, may actually be providing those funds as well. And those are the 2 things I've seen that do not have to be paid back under certain requirements. The first 2 have to be paid back, but they're very low interest rates. And it sounds like from my research, it's going to take a while, 2 months, I think. Or, I mean, I don't, it may be in a month, but realistically, I think it's going to take maybe a month and a half to 2 months before they start giving those funds out.
Well, the $10,000 they're supposed to start issuing that pretty rapidly.
Oh yes, the instant, yeah.
Yeah.
The disaster relief one, I think is going to be a while.
Yeah, that's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
But the emergency, whatever it's called, that's up to $10,000. They're supposed to be cutting checks for those like ASAP. But I'm not sure about that, because coming up on Friday, it will be 2 weeks that we submitted our application. And it was a very simple process. You know, they wanted to fill, it was when you could do it online, so it took probably 15 minutes to do. But you had to upload your tax returns for the past 2 years, both corporate and personal. And that was basically it. And they pulled my credit report, and that was it. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. I have no issues, and I communicated with the person who asked me to unlock my credit with Experian. I communicated with him on yesterday, because he told me he got the credit report, and he forwarded it on to a loan officer. So I don't know what happens next. I don't know what, because like I'm saying, on Friday it'll be 2 weeks. And to me, that's not fast.
So is that the $10,000?
That's the $10,000 one. Yeah.
Okay, so I applied for that one probably last week as well, and I had the same process, like unlock your credit. And then 3 days ago, there was one that was like that was a quicker process. It literally was a 1-pager. It wasn't upload any information, and that one showed me the expedited $10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I just filled out. I just filled that one out.
The 1-pager?
Today. Yeah, the 1-page online, and they just ask for your business information, your name, your owner, or whatever like that, and then I think it was like one more thing, and then that was it. I didn't have to submit any taxes or anything like that as well.
And this whole process continues to evolve.
Yeah.
And that was why I reached out to the person who asked me to unlock my credit report, because I'm thinking, okay, as you're making these changes, do you require additional information from me as we move along, or are you going to let me know if there's something outstanding? And we know we're dealing with the federal government, so.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah. All right. So just as a reminder, I know that you all have participated in some of our meetings before, so you you kind of know what we're about and how we got started and why we're here. But we are the Atlanta area SBA certified socio-economic MeetUp group, and our purpose is solely to meet and collaborate and do some networking. We're not here to hawk any of our wares or anything like that. It's strictly about networking and getting to know each other and seeing how we can help each other, move the economies of our communities, because I think that's very important. That's one of the reasons that we exist, because we are big on giving back to the community, and we like to see others doing the same thing. So that's kind of why we're in existence. I need to say that this group is not affiliated with SBA in any capacity, nor the federal government. Nothing to do with them. So that's kind of it. So let me. All right. Okay. All right. So fantastic. So we're gonna what we're gonna try and do. We're gonna get back on schedule, because our plan was to have these meetings once a month. And again, the holidays, we understand a lot of people are out, so we didn't plan anything for the holidays. We didn't plan anything for the first of the year, because we had a lot of things going on here internally, but we want to be back on schedule now and start picking these up again. So this is our first one, and we had planned to host it in the office until the pandemic happened. So this is pretty cool. I'm liking this a whole lot. And I would be at home just like you all are normally, but unfortunately I kind of live a little bit off the grid, so I don't have high speed internet. I have to use a data hub. So this is kind of like my only option, but it's all good. It's all good. I came into the office today, and I thought it was going to be kind of like a grocery store trip, but no one's here, so I didn't have to like get them all sideways and everything. Only the mailman came, and his arm was extended before I even opened the door. So that was what I needed. So just so you know, last week I was talking to my good friend Lydia, kind of in a panic, just because of the pandemic, and wondering how it was going to affect, the business short term, long term. And, what immediately kind of set me off was, what happens to the business if the federal government shuts down? So I called Lydia. I said, Lydia, I just need your ideas. Please talk me through this. And she did, got me calm, and I put the Xanax away. I was good after I talked to her, so I didn't need that. But Lydia, she has been working in the federal sector for more than 20 years. She has a lot of experience working with small companies, but she's worked with large companies as well. She's worked with many socioeconomic groups, including 8A companies, HUBZone, service disabled owned veterans. And she has been a guiding force for us since she and I reconnected back last fall, was when we reconnected. So again, when I was talking to her, I thought, maybe, I knew that what she was telling me would benefit the others, in the group. So I thought that I would have her do the same, have the same conversation. But I didn't ask her. I asked Renee to ask her, because I didn't want Lydia to tell me no.
Couldn't do.
I don't handle rejection well. Renee's a little bit better with that than I am, but she agreed. She agreed to do so, and we're just pleased to have her. So, Lydia, what am I missing from your bio?
No, don't. The bio is really not that important. We're all friends here.
I think I covered the most important part is that, you're not new to this. You've been around for a while,
Right.
in various capacities.
Mm-hmm.
Program manager, project manager, COO of companies, and worked in business development for many, many years, and very capable in helping us with our strategy in the DC area. So I appreciate that, and I just wanted to welcome you, introduce you, and welcome you. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and talk to us.
Well, thank you, Devan, and it was nice to virtually meet Tara. And it was it Clarence? No, Courtney.
Courtney,
right?
Courtney.
And
Mhm.
Courtney, nice to meet the two of you, and actually having a more intimate audience, we can probably address some very specific data. So
Yes.
one of the things Devan may tell you, I'm an eternal optimist.
Yes.
I consistently believe that there's always a good thing to come out of something and a solution. You just may not have the solution yet. And it's a matter of thinking through it. And I started or launched my own firm last year to work and use the skill sets I love. I'm, started in HR, that's, doing policy and running departments, but I love the hunt of business development, connecting companies and finding a solution. I love the hunt that small businesses have. I mean, we hustle, right? Small businesses, they hustle in a way that and again, I've worked $100 million company. I started my career in Citibank on Wall Street in New York City. So I know what it's like for everyone to have, I worked in the days when everyone had a secretary, right? Now, we're fortunate if we have an admin person to, assist us. But the small business is innovative, it's creative, we have a lot of energy. We're all wearing 5 and 10 hats. And I wanted to leverage what I've learned working with small businesses, and I've worked literally every size, from that $2 million company, that $5 million company, that $100 million company. I've been a division director for, a large company as well, and work with the small business. So I understand what Tara, Devan, Courtney, meaning I've sat on the side of the table trying to figure out how to make payroll, how to pay Peter to pay Paul, and how do you develop strategy. So I love Devan. We've known each other for 10, 12 years. We've bid together on opportunities with the various firms I've worked with.
Yes.
And he's a fighter. He's a survivor. I trust him and love his leadership. And we were speaking about how do we all proceed? And the first thing that I, stress, first of all, we need to tap ourselves and pat ourselves on the back, because those of us that have less than, 50 employees, we rock. We represent about 27% of the business in terms of the private sector, and that's in 2019. So we are a key part of this economy.
Yes.
And all of us have taken a chance and risk, but we've believed in ourselves to venture out and not be an employee, but to venture out and to provide jobs for others. This is our livelihood. So first, put that Superman cape back on, or that Superwoman cape back on, because that to me is big. Remember the fight that's in you from that, and not be, despair. I know in every ounce of my being that those of us who are flexible, those of us who are agile, optimistic, we remain in a growth mode. Not only are we going to survive this, we're going to thrive, because we're not going to be using yesterday's mindset to approach this new dynamic that we find ourselves.
Yeah.
So those of us who are going to be flexible, again, agile, creative, we're going to thrive. And that's part of the conversation that Devan and I, that we had. So I've spent the last few weeks, and let me just step back one way. You know, I'm a consulting firm. I have to network. I love people, talk to people all the time, strangers, etc. But I have to network. And I started canceling my appointments in February, seeing what was happening outside of the country. And I was fearful, not necessarily just for myself, but I care for an aging mother with health conditions. So that was going to affect my work. I was counting on certain networking meetings and, you know, to connect with people and learn more about opportunities firsthand from government individuals and certain chambers that I belong to. And all of a sudden that's, you know, that's gone. So I'm in the same mode that you're in, trying to figure out how do I progress through this. And I understood, again, I was going to have to network, but in a different way. So I started reaching out to some of the SESs I know throughout the area. And by the way, I'm in Virginia, 20 miles outside of DC, Washington, D.C. area. And so right in the hub of, you know, where most of, you know, the largest concentration of federal agencies. So easy, you know, 20 years, you have friends and clients that are former government people. Everyone has reached back in some way. And I'm consistently hearing, hey, we're still working. And, you know, just full disclosure, my spouse, my husband, is a Fed and working from home for the last 3 weeks, and they're hiring and they're still pushing out funding for their government contractors. So nowhere have I heard we're not working, we're not going to exercise the projects that are mandatory and even some discretionary projects. Now, having said that, of course, we recognize that there's secretaries and their support staff and security officers, et cetera, that are furloughed and not needed at this particular point. But we will get back to some semblance of normal, maybe with a reduction in some work staff, but not, the government is going to continue on. The other important note is I can tell you that there were new RFIs and RFQs posted this week. I'm actually working on a new proposal as a result. So things are continuing to progress ahead. I want to employ everyone on the phone. You're already applying, you know, it was like $350 billion, I think, initially for small business to help us with cash flows. Kudos to you for already, you know, starting that process. And this is the time, all of you have a personal SBA rep. And, you know, some of us have better reps than others who are responsive, but now is the time to help them make, you know, help them, make their salary or work for their salary and work them. And many of you have accountants or a financial advisor that, you know, they may help you with your books. Use those resources, make them work for that extra money in terms of, you know, delaying maybe some capital expenditures that you have. I mean, look at things, you know, pull the sheets back, even though it can be scary. So back to, you know, being agile and, you know, and not real. I think one of the biggest things is not to unrealistically tie your growth plans that you may have created 4 months ago for 2020 and 2021. Now's the time to be, again, agile and flexible. I'm actually spending a great amount of time looking, how do I follow the money? I mean, we all know right now that this pandemic has exposed so many vulnerabilities in our country and in all of the processes that exist. And I can tell you, you know, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats that are going to be in office. We understand that there's going to be special committees set to understand why we failed in so many ways, and then resources put to address that. So, those of us who are open to, business process solutions, be flexible, because you may be able to adjust your core capabilities to the needs that our society and the needs that we're going to see this year and in the next few years to come. Great examples are our fashion designers making masks, distilleries making hand sanitizers. I was speaking to someone that does primarily IT business process solutions, and I'm like, why can't you take those lessons and apply it to a supply chain issue? Why can't you respond to a source to sort for a solution based on the technology and the methodologies that you apply to another process? We can. So back to following the money. Initially, many civilian agencies were going to see a cut in the funding, the proposed Trump plan. I don't know if anyone analyzed it or looked at it for 21. I think we can probably throw a large part of that budget out. Some things I believe will stay the same. We know some agencies like EPA, NARA, Census, HUD, we're going to see, reductions. But this is what we do know. We know VA was going to receive, I think, an additional like $3 billion, specifically for health records. Well, think about what that means for the type of work. I mean, I definitely know Tara is probably going to have a million ideas and several other core capabilities born out of what has taken place. I mean, I definitely think Courtney can probably take advantage of that as well, especially back to the supply chain issue. But DOL will see an increase, and most in HHS. One of the things I would encourage those of us who are on the small business side, we can look at some of the important small institutes out of NIH. So maybe, as well as HHS, maybe the ACF with some of their divisions will have a lot more sole source work that'll be geared to a socio-economic groups versus, the $100 million VA IT health records that's going to come out of Vector or, some other big schedule that will be geared towards some of the larger companies. So follow the money, be very, very flexible. I know defense saw an increase. I think we may see some changes. And again, what is that really going to look like? And the other thing, I know Courtney mentioned that he had a lot of his state certifications. I think the same way small businesses are receiving grants for us to thrive, states are now going to be applying, and they have an entire grants for them to address the issues of their vulnerabilities, again, back to supply chain, health records, hospitals, and the list goes on and on. But they are now going to be a viable resource for those of you living inside of the state. Lessons, again, learned from the pandemic. I think it's critical to adjust your marketing strategy. How do you help your clients right now procure services that they may need? How do you tailor some of your capabilities to help get sole source work? RFIs are going to be an absolute must, and they should have been part of the marketing strategy, but I would definitely, take a step back, look at your offerings. Again, Tara, yours is different than Courtney's, which is different than Devan's, and focus where we're going to see some of that work coming out inside of the next 6 months. And now's the perfect time to sort of have a strategy and looking at things for 2021's, fiscal year as well. I think teaming, which again, you're a part of this consortium of small businesses trying to figure out how do we do things differently. I can't stress enough that those businesses that manage and are successful, most of them do it because they have figured out a way to band to grow. Would you prefer 25% of a $5 million deal or 100% of something that you can't, you aren't able to win? So if you can find trusted teaming partners with complementary swim lanes, whether it's based on your agency or socioeconomic status, one is a woman-owned business, one's a HUBZone business, one still has, 8A, change up, you may have 3 strengths of a RFP, the capabilities that's requested, and another company has 2. Again, share and band to grow. I like the fact that this particular group here, you're not trying to sell your services. So continue that mindset. If there's a tip, a resource, something you can share, I'm forever reading something or I see an opportunity. And if it's not my client, and it might have been someone that I was attempting to work with, but for whatever reason, we're not working together, but I see an opportunity that's in their swim lane, I'll send off, hey, by the way, DOD just released this, work together. And again, that I believe is going to be returned most of the time to you as well. Those were the basic notes. I wanted to stress again, VA, DOL, and HHS as agencies that if you have limited resources in terms of time for research, is to drill down and open up all of HHS. Just don't focus on CDC. And this is especially true for Tara, because I definitely think, agencies like SAMHSA, the Agency on Aging, as well as ACF is going to have a lot of work that may, from what I understood, you indicated your work and core capabilities is going to offer you. Is there anything I might have missed, Devan?
Well, I just want to piggyback on one important thing that you mentioned, Lydia.
Yes.
As small businesses, we need to be as flexible, remain as flexible as possible.
Yes.
And seek opportunities that are kind of outside of our box. We got to think outside of the box. I hate that cliche, but that's the only one I can think of at this point. We got to, now's the time for us to think outside of the box, and we need to be agile and flexible. A prime example is one of my colleagues. He posted on LinkedIn today, and his company, he's been in business for a long time. He produces displays for conventions and trade shows.
Yes.
So Renee, he actually did our display. So as you can imagine, they don't have a whole lot of, there's not a whole lot of conventions going on now. There's not a whole lot of need for displays. But he indicated this morning that they were, and he showed a picture of it, that he was designing panels for the temporary hospitals in Miami. So he has all these panels in this like convention center that they created, they manufactured and developed. So I thought that was just ingenious. I mean, to go from trade shows to providing paneling for pop-up emergency hospitals. So that's a great example of kind of thinking outside of your comfort zone, especially now.
Absolutely. That's another great example. And again, that's the heart of small business, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Oh, okay. You can hear me? Okay. Yeah, I had to make a little quick run real quick. So that's why I had to pause my video. Sorry. But I was wondering, as far as doing like joint ventures, being that I do have the service disabled veteran-owned small business cert, is it possible to to find
a larger contractor per se, whatever, and you know, go in as a prime, or they are the prime, and then I, you know, go in under them to help with that certification? Is that something that you can do?
So if an opportunity comes out as service disabled veteran owned, you would have to be the prime. They would not be the prime.
Oh,
but
okay.
you would have the power or the force of, you know, their capabilities behind you. So the important issue is definitely to hopefully you have a couple of really strong past performances that you're able to market, but you need to try to leverage some relationships now with some of these firms, whether it's
Okay.
a huge, you know, $100 million company, or just maybe a company that could be, you know, 20 million that's been around and has a, you know, a good cash flow and can prove credit worthiness for some of the larger opportunities that are going to, you know, be issued shortly.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
And so, Courtney, just to kind of piggyback on that, and I got caught up in this as a young business back in 2004 when we initially started. I viewed my competition as the enemy. You know, we were fighting against each other. But sometimes you got to view your competition as a teaming partner. You know, there's strength in numbers, that's for sure. So maybe there's an opportunity that's coming out at some point. It's a really big opportunity, and it's, you know, SDVOSB, but you can't perform all of it. Team with another SDVOSB that's in the trucking company and form a joint venture, perhaps. You know, do a teaming arrangement and go after it. Prime example, probably 2 miles away from here, there is a Socio-Economic company, and we do basically the same thing.
Okay.
So I initially, you know, when I first started, I really did view them kind of like as the, you know, they were my competitions, me against them. But we have actually teamed up together to go after some things. Even though we have the same core competencies, we do basically the same thing, but sometimes we just need each other. He's SDVOSB, I'm HUBZone, small business. So, you know, if we see an opportunity, we're going after it. As a matter of fact, I mean, I talked to him on Monday. We talk all the time, and we do the same thing. Yeah, we do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Tara, you have anything for Lydia before she signs off?
I have so many questions. So I'll keep it short. So I mean, our approach was to try and figure out what we could be doing right now with COVID-19, and I just haven't been able to find anything. And you said be innovative and that type of thing. So I want to get my team together for us to think like, what can we do? So say we come up with an idea, because I mean, I have many ideas, but I don't know who to go to, where to start with that. Because I think there's a lot of things that I've seen that with my staff's skill set, they could help, but I don't know who's gonna buy it, I guess, to say. So what do I do?
Right. So believe it or not, I know factually white papers, especially inside of NIH, they work. I worked for a company called IMC that was acquired by Caliber, and they had a health IT division. I'm not the health IT guy. I'm the ops person. So I sat in, meetings, etc. And we did a lot of work. I think we were in 12 of the 19 or 13 of the 19 institutes. And Devan and I, actually, we teamed together on an opportunity while I was at that company. White papers work. I know they won work by doing certain white paper for NCIH and NIAID and a few other things. So one of the things, I don't know where you're working, where your client base, who's your primary client right now in terms of?
In the federal space,
Yeah.
not really. I mean, we've done work with DOD, but because we're new in the federal space, but we've done like, if we can think about like trickle down where that's come from, actually Department of Labor, we've done a lot of things through the state agencies, Department of Commerce and their Department of Labor workforce development type work. And then HHS obviously trickled down. I mean, SAMHSA, CDC, but it's all been like sub or like secondary funding, like no direct funding.
Yes. So one of the things I would do, and you know, Devan, I'm not mocking, I'm just being honest. If I was working with you, one of the things I would do is scrub your LinkedIn and your social sites, your business sites, figure out how you can get to any of those federal agencies, specifically the NIHs and the health-related agencies, to see who you know, that you could start having a preliminary conversation about who is in a position to present that. That's the first thing that you can do in terms of, if you're looking for stuff you can do immediately. The other thing you should start, if you said you have your 8A and you're woman-owned, so you now have 2 other set-asides, right? So do you have your federal, your list of other federal contractors that are already playing in the places you want to play in? Do you have those target companies that are doing what you want to do?
Yes, the other agencies that would be considered partners or competitors?
Your competitors that are already at that $10-20 million.
Yes.
Okay, so if you have those competitors, now go scrub their areas, see who's playing in those spaces, and start forging partnerships and teamings, so that with your 8A and your woman-owned status, preferably a firm that doesn't have a Socio-Economic, they may have graduated from the 8A program, but they still have contacts at NIH, and tell them, hey, me and my team have these excellent ideas for SAMHSA that we want to present. We want to leverage your contacts should we get an award from this, or perhaps you can help, you know, on something that you're bidding in, and let that be a foray into some of these agencies as well. Once you start gaining more past performance and working, you'll be able to prime, you know, some work, and, you know, start leveraging those contacts.
Okay.
But I would also start building your plan for the rest of this year and 21. You know the work that you can do. And so even though you don't have as much, and I don't know what your past performance looks like, but you should be able to leverage your woman-owned and 8A, if you have great past performance, to potentially get some sole source work. And there is going to be, I personally think that we're going to see an uptick on sole source work, because we're going to have a shortage of quality time to get contracts out. That's, again, you know, I don't know that the federal government hasn't stated that, but I'm just based on, you know, some logic, right?
So to clarify for the sole source work, and I think that's my question on how to do this on a different approach besides just partnering with an 8A that's graduating, which is how we got our sole source. But so you're saying partner with a larger organization. We have some expertise and some ideas that we feel the government would be interested in, and use their contacts in order to kind of share that information with the government.
Right, you want to team with them. Okay. You want to try, now's the time to build your partnerships, your teaming relationships, but this is going to have to be trusted partners, right? And you're looking for more of a long-term relationship, but you know, you already identified who those firms are that are playing the space, that you know, they're where you want to be. And there should be some kind of symbiotic relationship. They need you because they don't have the 8A and woman-owned status, and you need them because they have the contacts, they've been there, they may have additional resources to help with full-fledged proposals, etc. So that's the, you know, immediate approach I would take, as well as, trying to look at 2021. But there's no reason why, as a woman-owned, if you're in SAM and you're a woman-owned 8A business, you cannot sole source work yourself if you have the past performance and the credentials to do it.
Okay.
No reason why. Again, if you have the past performance and the credentials.
We have the past performance, just not in federal space. And I hear that a lot, but I just don't know. I think we're just doing something wrong. I don't know.
No, you're probably no. So again, if you don't have it and Devan, you having worked in this space, this is when, again, having a trusted partner would help, because you could still get work sole source where you get, 80% of the work, and you may have another partner that is also working with you, that has federal contact.
Yeah,
and Devan, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, and that partner, they want to team with you because of a few things. One, they believe in you. They see your potential. They think it will be a good relationship. And plus, they want, 20% of the contract. I mean, that's 20% is better than nothing, of whatever percentage you agree on. So it ends up being a win-win. It really does. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Anybody have anything else? Renee, if you have something, you're on mute.
To unmute myself. So Tara, do you have any other questions? This is the beauty of doing something like this on an intimate basis. You can ask all the questions you want.
Well, I didn't want to take up any more time.
Well, we slated until 8, so.
Oh, okay.
We don't necessarily need to be here until 8, Tara, but.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, since you gave me a free hour.
Yeah, Lydia and I, we talk a few times a week. So, she takes care of my questions.
That's awesome. So actually, okay, so I do have questions. So we have a larger partner and a contact that does what we do on a larger scale. They've been in business since 1980 something. They work with, everybody in HHS. And I've gotten one meeting with him, and then we actually have another meeting later this week. And he was excited about our company because he didn't know of another company that was 8A in the evaluation public health space. So it's great. But now I've been just trying to meet with him, but I guess I'm trying to figure out what approach I should take, because he's just excited that we're 8A. And I said, well, maybe we can figure out what we can do next. Should I present some of our ideas? We have an NDA and that type of thing. Or should I just kind of look for opportunities to partner with him now? I'm just trying to figure out the best approach.
Right.
And
so again, I'm a big relationship person and I'm a big gut person. So every person that comes in a nice suit, and looking sharp doesn't necessarily have money. And so I say that from the standpoint of what is someone's true intentions. So I'm not one to want to share, too many ideas too quickly that, again, could be taken to someone else or someone else taking advantage, not knowing the investment he has in you. So keep in mind, he's most likely probably very excited because, again, you're about to check off a few boxes that this firm can't. You're woman-owned, you're 8A, and so if he has potential opportunities and or those types of opportunities, he's going to look to leverage that and what percentage. And he may be pushing not necessarily for 20%, but a 49% share of any of your revenue. So keep that in mind. So I would approach the first meeting and let him do a lot of speaking, but ask him, what is he looking for out of the relationship? Is he looking to mentor you? Is he willing to, You know, if you find opportunities, help provides proposal support, mentorship, relationship development. What is he looking to do? What does he see as the relationship? I would also ask him, you know, does he have relationships with others, you know, small businesses? And, you know, how does he foresee the market? I mean, use him in the perspective of as a potential mentor and ask him what is he looking for out of the relationship. And again, let your gut talk to you. If this is someone that you feel, and I don't know if you can do any research and, you know, industry wise to get data, but that may serve as a really good partner. You can, you know, not be completely, when I say completely selfish, meaning you can open up a little bit and advise him that you believe you have some ideas that you would be willing to share. But at the beginning of any relationship with an unknown entity, and especially we're talking about intellectual property, right? Your ideas, your thoughts, you know, you can't, once it's out the bag, it's hard to pull it back in. So just be careful with how you proceed.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on that, Tara, it's important to, and it's okay to let them know, you know, what you want or need from them. I mean, you know, expose your vulnerabilities. Let them know what you need. And you know, there may be some dialogue about, you know, helping you with those needs, and you can talk about them up front, and you know, give you an opportunity to kind of determine if it's, you know, a good relationship based on how that initial conversation goes about really supporting you, because given they're a larger company, they should be in a position to really want to support you for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, while, you know, you're helping them as well. So it's a win-win.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a win-win. So don't be afraid to expose your vulnerabilities. You know, they know that you're a small company. They know you don't know a whole lot, probably. But,
right.
You know, a good teaming partner would never take advantage of that, for sure. But like Lydia said, it's important to kind of know who you're dealing with. So you want to date before you get married.
There you go.
Very true.
And I think that keeps you from wasting your time. It prevents them from wasting their time once you get that done and out of the way first. One of the things I would like to say is on the whole kind of trying to make sure we're agile and flexible and finding where we fit. You know, we're all taught to think on a high level of what it is we do. But I think now we're in a position where we really kind of have to, I hate to say it, dumb things down. And case in point is with the friend of Devan's who creates displays. That is a fancy word for signs. He makes signs. So where was his opportunity? His opportunity was in making signs. So, you know, even Courtney with you, again, not to dumb it down, you're in logistics. What do? You move things from one point to the next point. What is it that you do? And look at it from a simplistic standpoint. And I think we can all figure out kind of different areas that we may fit in. What do? We employ people. We give people jobs. We also hand companies employees.
Right.
So just kind of dumbing it down helps open up kind of some creative areas to figure out where it is we may fit.
And that's a good point, because I think a lot of times small business owners, you know, we have to think at a 30,000, you know, foot level all the time, until it's hard to really kind of drop down and become really granular. So, you know, you have to have good people around you who will kind of bring you down from that 30,000 feet, bring you down to ground level, and, you know, kind of expose some things that maybe you have not thought about.
And another thing I just wanted to, because I didn't share this with Courtney when he was speaking about trucking, you know, keep in mind there are a number of facility opportunities that come out of the federal government where you're managing warehouses and moving things, you know, from one side of the, you know, Army installation to another side. So I don't know if you are exploring that aspect of your company and the ability to potentially move into facilities, and I'm talking about on the trucking, material handling side, but I definitely know there's a lot of work that's out on the 8A and SDVOB socioeconomic status. So you might want to look at that too.
Okay. Oh yeah, absolutely. I know I've also spoke with I got a contact at Georgia Power as well that have a contract to moving it's heavy hauling. So it's basically you're moving, transmission lines, transformers and different things like that. So yeah, I'm definitely stepping out on all of those opportunities as well too.
Excellent.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Well, just one more thing I want to say, because when I started the business back in 2004, we were a third-party administrator of retirement plans. I started a company based on my background. That's what I knew. I knew retirement plans, pension plans, I knew administration. So that's what I started the business on. So, we got some revenue to manage some retirement plans, but then I thought, and sometimes it's just good to have a session with yourself where you're just sitting in front of maybe a mirror and you're just talking to yourself and you think, what else can I do? So I then thought, like Renee said, I thought, okay, well, retirement plans administration, that's a part of human resources. What else can we do under the HR umbrella? So that's how we got into everything else within HR, providing human capital, recruiting, staffing, employee training and development, ventured off into, based on some of the contracts that we got, ventured off into, call center support work, administrative support, document management. So we're always looking for what else, what else, what other value can we provide? What else can we bring? So it's so you gotta, kind of, really force yourself to think out of the box a little bit, because we just kind of get kind of hung up in it. But Renee, that was a great example of what you provided.
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
All right, Tara, one more shot.
Yeah. So this is gonna change the subject a little bit, but still obviously on the topic. So when we're talking about not sole source opportunities, but even responding to RFIs and RFPs, we've done that a lot, and have never won one direct from like just seeing it on, Beta Sam now. And I feel like we're always behind the curve on that, that there's something else we're missing. And I know it's relationship building and getting kind of out and them knowing about us even before they put the bid out. But I guess we haven't figured out how to do that. Like, how am I supposed to know that they want to buy our services until I see that they want to buy our services, besides looking at past experiences and what they've bought in the past? But then we have to think about the incumbents and how strong the incumbent is, and most likely they're still going to win it because they've been with them for many years. So I have that, we've had those issues with, I guess, bidding the general, go out and bid on something, put it out your RFP, and then you don't win, you're number 3 or 4 kind of thing.
You're getting all your debriefs after you submit something? Okay.
We are.
And are your debriefs, are you being evaluated as technically high on all of them?
For the most part, our technical responses are pretty good. Normally they say our staffing plan is what's the best thing, and then our technical approach normally needs a little bit of a tweak here and there, or we could have been a little bit more innovative, or that type of thing.
Yes. Right. So again, I think you've been bidding now, for a couple of years?
Yes. 3 years, or yes. On
right.
federal, yes.
Right. And just curious, how many off the top of your head RFPs have you put in?
Oh, I wouldn't say a lot though. So I would say probably 6, maybe.
Okay.
We've
Right.
kind
So,
of went back to the local and state government and nonprofits because it works and we know what we do and we know how to do it.
okay.
So
So I definitely think diversification is important, right? So you have obviously a steady client base through your state and your nonprofits, which is great, but you still want to leverage the buying power of the federal government. So I would continue, obviously, no brainer to do both. But if you are telling me that in 3 years you submitted no more than 6 proposals, and I can't imagine that your first 2 were you're going to win, right? Because none of us start that way, right?
and that's as primes. We have done some subbing with
Right.
other
Right.
similarly situated.
Right.
Yes.
So you're starting to probably develop like a good, I mean, I don't even know if 6 proposals, which may be 2 a year, if you would even, and Devan can chime on this, if we would even say you have a P-win, which, percentage of win, but I would probably do more analytical work about what you're doing and whether or not you're hunting in the right place. And if you're going to decide that I'm going to pursue 4 federal contracts, 4 RFPs per year, where you hunt and how you hunt, like your strategy to that is going to be critical so that you're just not all over the place. And that's just going to be based on some other data analytics as it pertains to your firm. I know I'm speaking general because I don't know your work product per se, but that would be, I'm sure you have some answers in the type of RFPs you've submitted and in your debriefs that you probably need to go back and look again, but then compare that now to the agencies I already gave you. You're going to look at some of the smaller HHS agencies and see who amongst those, the smaller ones, aging, that may not have met all of their, and I think most of HHS was doing pretty good, but let's look and see what opportunities on their forecasts may be coming that you can take the best of your proposals and the best of your ideas to look for some sole source work too. But there's probably a lot of data you need to analyze that's sitting right in your brain and on your computer that would help you define a better strategy. And Devan, what else can you add to her? Can you add to that?
Yeah. So Tara, let me ask you about your proposal writing capabilities. Who does your proposals?
We do it as a team.
Okay.
So everybody teams in. I pull in a budget person. I do have a proposal manager that I pull in as well that's not on staff. So we have to pay for that. We have to pay for the budget person, obviously. And then I have to think about, I'm pulling my staff off of client work to do proposal writing as well.
Yes.
So we have everybody. It's an all hands on deck normally that we try to take that approach.
So do you think that the final product, the final proposal tells a compelling story?
The last one that we submitted, I really do. The last few that we've done, I mean, for the most part, if I was giving it a grade, I would say a B+ or an A-. The last one I really felt like was an A, maybe not an A+, but and then after talking with them, obviously it was good, but it just wasn't exactly what they were looking for.
So why didn't you win it?
Innovation probably was it was really the highest thing. Like our pricing was good, our staffing was good, but they wanted something a little bit more than what we were giving them. Like we responded to what they wanted. So if they wanted data analytics, we were like, okay, this is how we do data analytics. This is how we've done it in the past. Yes. But they wanted something a little bit more. And I guess we just didn't see that in the proposal. That's what they were asking. Yes. It's like not reading between the lines because it wasn't easy for me to figure that out.
Yeah, that's always a selling point, Tyra, is, how can you not only provide us what we're asking for,
Uh-huh.
how can you help us move forward? What innovations can you bring to this particular requirement?
Mm.
So
Okay.
whenever you have an opportunity to really talk about, you know, how you can be innovative and how you can help the agency move forward,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you talk about that. That's important.
Okay.
Because even though they may not ask for that within the RFP, it's not going to be within the statement of work normally, but that's a selling point. That's a star. So that's why the other company got it, because they got it. They knew that the agency was looking for, you know, something extra.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
you know, make sure you keep that in mind.
And that's one of the things that I've learned in all of this. You know, I've explained to you all, I'm mainly on the commercial side. I don't really play on the federal side, but when I get to play, I get asked some very detailed questions. So for instance, you know, we are recruiters, so we recruit staff. So we certainly have a very intricate process of how that's done. And everyone who recruits staff, you have to recruit a certain way. So my job is to present the state-of-the-art ways in which we recruit. We've got a very versatile applicant tracking system. It's online. It has all of these bells and whistles. So basically, again, just kind of selling yourself. And even with these proposals, one of the things I've had to learn is that you have to still think from a commercial aspect of that you're marketing. You still have to sell it. Mm-hmm. Even though you're reading all of the requirements, you're reading, you know, it needs this, this is what it needs, this is what they want. You have to kind of think outside of that. Okay, but this is what I'm going to give them.
Yes. And your proposal is your marketing tool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your final marketing tool. Normally, you don't get to do a presentation. They are making the award based on the proposal. So it needs to be stellar. Because if yours is not stellar, there's one right behind yours that is.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know you were talking about the catch-22 between how do you get to know what an agency wants in terms of marketing and before, you know, an RFP comes. And, you know, I know there are some individuals that don't think you can learn much with industry days. But I do think that the networking of industry days and forging relationships with people, and, you know, I'm talking about this, you know, if you have sub work, or, and it's hard sometimes if you have sub work, so let me caveat that. But the importance, I've learned more from secretaries and mail clerks on contracts sometimes than I have from a CO. Meaning, you know, the temperature of what's happening within an agency, and if the incumbent is doing well, etc. Also, you indicated about incumbents winning. That percentage is, you know, changing a little bit more with the first right of refusal. That's the executive order President Obama put in place, so that many contracts, the contract staff, they are supposed to be offered the first right, not necessarily the management team. So look at the type of work, because it changes in terms of percentage of incumbent. And I think it is important to do a certain degree of incumbent capture. But we may see a lot more new requirements coming out in 21 just based on what occurred, you know, with the pandemic. But if we were to, you know, be very concerned about not bidding on work, none of us would ever bid on work, because, you know, it's what, every 20, I don't even know the ratio, how many quote new requirements that you see, right? And so many things are coming out with those bigger IDIQs and GWACs and et cetera, sometimes squeezing smaller businesses out. And especially the younger small business, you're not going to have the resource to, you know, put a bid in for, you know, like STARS 3. I mean, how much money are you going to need to bid on that, Devan? You know?
$20,000 at least.
How much? You say 20?
I mean, you calculate to me, to the
Go
time that it takes.
go up a little bit.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a big one like Stars 3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I would do incumbent capture, but I wouldn't be completely scared. I like the advice that Devan gave, but I want you to definitely go back and look at your debriefs and and your proposals as a critical eye. And it may help, sometimes to have someone that is not too close to you that can look at data, because sometimes we're all of us are biased at our own, to a certain degree we're biased. Yep. And even our teams have a certain degree of bias. And so that's really important, to have someone that can not just tell you the truth, but perhaps can see a different reality that you and your team may not be able to see, to help position you better too. And your partner, the firm that you're going to speak to, they may even be able to help support that as well, in terms of the mentor relationship, So anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Lydia, thank you again so much for lending your expertise. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This has been fantastic.
I enjoyed meeting your colleagues, your fellow owners, and wish you all of the best. And perhaps our paths will cross one time again. Continue doing this networking.
Yes.
As I indicated, Devan, he has seen some things, he has survived, he is thriving. I definitely think that this association, sad that you didn't have more of a participation, but we are in different times right now. We recognize that, families are home and, trying to manage all of that, but continue to do what you're doing with your networking. And those of you, Courtney and or Tara, both Renee and Devan have my contact data should you want to reach out. I'll be happy to answer any other, quick questions, something that may pop up, 2 o'clock in the morning from our conversation. And Devan and Renee, thank you for including me in on, your meeting today.
Lydia, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. Tara and Courtney, I hope you all have some takeaways. Every time I talk to Lydia or listen to Lydia, I am in awe. I'm like, oh my gosh, I learned so much. So hopefully you guys have, and thank you all for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate that, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Be safe, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Be safe. Be safe.
Thank you. You too.